Rescue operations are underway in Ukraine's port city of Mykolaiv after at least 10 Russian missiles struck 2 universities and other civil infrastructure. Local officials say that at least 4 people have been injured. Elsewhere, Russian airstrikes hit Kharkiv in the north and 3 districts in the Dnipro region to the east. Meanwhile, 18 people are still missing in the central Ukrainian city of Vinnytsia after missiles hit civilian buildings on Thursday. At least 23 people there are confirmed dead. Well, our correspondent Sasha Vakulina is here with me in the studio. Sasha, yesterday that strike on Vinnytsia tragically killing children. Today, 2 universities in Mykolaiv. Again, here we're seeing civilian infrastructure being targeted. How is this impacting morale, I guess, in Ukraine?
Now, I have to say that the attack on Vinnytsia yesterday was truly heartbreaking for Ukrainian society, for everybody all over Ukraine and beyond Ukrainian borders, of course. Seeing the pictures of the disturbing pictures of that stroller of the kids who died and who got injured, this is, of course, this had a very heartbreaking effect. And this brought the total of children killed during the war to 352 by now. 352 Ukrainian children who died since the full-scale invasion. So, of course, this has a huge impact on the morale of the Ukrainians. But I also have to say that when it comes to Ukrainian military and those who are fighting and defending for Ukraine, this made them very angry, so to say, because they do feel like they have to, no matter what fatigue or exhaustion that they had, of course, now since months of this full-scale war, they feel like they have to defend it even more for those children.
I mean, 352 children, that is a number which bears repeating, and I can see your emotion even saying it. But, you know, there's a pattern here. Schools hit, universities. Mm-hmm. Is this being seen as part of a strategy?
Well, that's the question here, because I've checked now on the numbers, and according to Ukrainian authorities, they will have to rebuild and recover 400 schools and 300 kindergartens. This is, of course, including 152 cultural sites that, according to UNESCO, also religious buildings, historical buildings. This is exactly why that concern is being raised here. But we have to understand also that Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, repeatedly said that he does not recognize the existence of Ukraine as a sovereign state. So this is indeed can be seen as an attack on the very essence of Ukrainian culture and heritage and language as well, because in the occupied territories nowadays, all the teachers reportedly, those who stayed there on the occupied territories, they are being forced to change the way they teach at schools, and they have to switch to Russian language, and also they have to switch the whole curriculum into the Russian curriculum program. So all in all, these can be seen as the attack on more than just territory, but also Ukrainian culture and essence of it.
Well, Sasha Vakulina there reporting on another day seeing civilian infrastructure hit in Ukraine. Sasha, as ever, thank you. Well, meanwhile, Russia's defence ministry said that negotiators were close to reaching a deal to unblock grain from Ukraine's Black Sea ports. Delegates from Moscow, Kyiv and Ankara met with UN officials in Istanbul this week to discuss the possible resumption of exports. Moscow had previously said that Western sanctions must be relaxed before foreign vessels could resume operations. But Turkey's foreign minister said that a deal was set to be signed next week. Well, straight over then to Galina Polanskaya, who is standing by for us. Galina, good to see you. Hearing news yesterday about potentially positive developments from Turkey when it comes to getting Ukrainian grain out of ports. But what is the Russian government saying about that position on a potential deal?
Well, Russia says that Moscow's proposal on how to resume Ukraine grain exports were largely supported by negotiations at talks, and that the agreement could be seen very soon. But many analysts think actually that we could see some results as early as the next Tuesday on the 19th of July, when President Putin will meet the President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, in Iran. They are there to talk about Syria officially, but of course it could be expected that they could also discuss the grains, and some analysts believe that Vladimir Putin wants to announce this decision by himself, and surely the next week there will be another round of negotiations. And RIA Novosti, the Russian state agency, says that some diplomatic sources are persuaded that the agreement is very, very close, and some other sources say that what Russia discusses that those talks are sanctions which are not directly linked with the grain problem.
Galina, I have to say that the world was certainly saddened to wake up and hear the news of the British aid worker Paul Urey dying after allegedly being held by Russian-backed separatists. Has that news made its way to Russia?
Really sad news, and Russian state media and state news agencies reported. They spoke about the death of Paul Urey, but of course they are mainly quoting the officials from the self-proclaimed separatist republic, the People's Donetsk Republic, and one of the latest quotes is coming from the foreign minister of this recognized by Russia Republic, who said that the cause of the death was I quote, acute coronary insufficiency. We have heard that it was diabetes and other chronic diseases and stress. And Russian media also quote the foreign secretary of the UK, Liz Truss, who accused Russia of this death and said that it was Russia responsible, but they do not say that Paul was a humanitarian worker. What they say that he was charged of mercenary activities, and those news surely made it through Russia.